This is the Muskegon Spotter Buoy, and it went on an adventure that gave researchers a glimpse into how the lakes really behave in the winter. The Muskegon Spotter Buoy was part of a network of buoys across the Great Lakes that captured data about water conditions. Steve Ruberg is an observing system researcher with the Great Lakes Environmental Research Laboratory, one of the organizations that deploys and manages these buoys.
In response to the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald, a buoy network was established to give freighter captains, the freighter fleet, the ability to look at wave conditions and wind conditions in real time. That has now grown to many buoys that have been supported by an organization called the Great Lakes Observing System.
This real-time data collection is especially valuable in the winter, when ice and high winds make the lakes particularly treacherous. But there's a problem. Those same harsh conditions can destroy buoys, which means that many of them are moored in the spring and taken out of the water before winter. That's where spotter buoys come in. They're smaller and much more durable than other buoys in the network. Over the past few years, they've been one of the methods used to gather data about those harsh winter conditions.
These small basketball-sized buoys that are very robust have been proven to be really successful at getting us winter wave observations. Most of the time, they will stay on the mooring. We've even dropped them from like a Coast Guard helicopter in January, and then picked them up in the springtime. And they can survive that. Once they come ashore, they get pounded by ice and waves and that sort of thing. But they can survive that.
That brings us back to the Muskegon Spotter Buoy. In January of 2025, it broke free from its mooring off the coast of Muskegon, Michigan. That's not unusual and wasn't cause for concern. Again, these things can take a beating. But what was new was what the buoy observed. This little buoy ended up in almost the middle of Lake Michigan and drifted around before washing up on a Michigan shore in the spring. During its travels, it observed a variety of different ice conditions.
It just perfectly got into sort of exactly the situation we wanted to get into, which was smaller pieces of ice up to larger pieces of ice, which all of that affects the wave height. And so that was really the serendipitous benefit of this in this situation. It really accidentally kind of did exactly what we've been hoping to do with the more planned deployment.
Ayumi Fujisake Monome is an associate research scientist at the Cooperative Institute for Great Lakes Research. According to her, the Muskegon Spotter Buoy captured data from a few interesting events.
While it was traveling, there was a couple of interesting storm events. One happened in open water, and the other happened when the buoy was partially covered by ice. And the first event was around February 7th, and buoy recorded high wave with a wave height as high as 15 feet. And then later, there's another storm event that was around February 17th. And for that one, a buoy was in 60% ice cover and recorded up to 8 feet wave. So those data are pretty tremendously variable for us. One, understanding winter wave conditions, and then two, how should we represent the process of ice dampening wave? We have very limited knowledge on that process, and any data from this buoy will help reveal that process and how we should represent that process in our model.
How ice dampens wave action on the lakes is just one of many things we know very little about. The data gathered from this buoy's unscheduled adventure is already helping to fill in gaps in our knowledge.
So one finding is that for this particular trajectory of drifting buoy, we found that the model we are using is dampening wave pretty more aggressively than it should be when there is ice cover. And this seems to be particularly true when ice is drifting, moving around.
Of course, this is just data from one buoy. a lot more information is needed to better inform the models and forecasts.
The accumulation of data is very important. The data is starting to accumulate, which is a very good news for this research. I'm hopeful that we'll see more accumulation of the data, and that help us to understand the process, and that will feed back to our prediction model.